Hello, everyone, and good morning. On behalf of the Camper Dugong recovery team, Wildlife Institute of India, I wish you a very happy World Dugong Day. It's my pleasure to welcome you today for this online webinar on ecology of dugongs and their habitats. So, to briefly set the context, on the 28th of May 2008, India signed a memorandum of understanding with the Convention on Migratory Species to protect dugongs and their habitats. So, during the COVID 19 pandemic in 2020, the Campa Dugong team from Wildlife Institute of India actually picked up this date and started celebrating an online event for Dugong Day. Now, this has been picked up globally and now is celebrated as World Dugong Day worldwide. In on this day, we usually bring together international dugong research community in the spirit of collaboration and awareness. Now, as part of this year's celebrations, we are honored to be joined by national and international panelists and speakers whose work span dugong ecology, seagrass conservation, and socio-ecological frameworks. The diverse perspectives will be explored in the panel discussion later today. Now, I would like to request Dr. J.A. Johnson, Scientist F, Registrar, Wildlife Institute of India, to give the welcome address.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Oshni. First of all, I wish you all a very happy World Dugang Day 2025. So already you have highlighted this celebration was initiated way back in 2020 and could able to continue the same spirit of celebration till date. On this special event, so we have been organizing multiple event in the field level and at various forum. So today is a special day, the day we are having this webinar, and this occasion it's my duty to welcome the entire team. So first of all, I would like to welcome our director, Sri Virendra Tiwari ji, for inaugurating this webinar. He's he's kindly agreed to give a inaugural speech in this session. And I also extend my warm welcome to the panelists, Dr. Himanshu Das from Abu Dhabi, Dr. John from Qatar, Dr. Ranil from Sri Lanka, Dr. Akbar from Indonesia. So these are all great the legends in the same field. I also welcome our team, Dr. Shivakumar. Though he is right now he is in the Pondicherry University, he is the man behind the entire the recovery program. So I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Shivakumar. I also welcome the entire Dugong team, those who are in the field, those who are in the headquarters, and wherever they are sitting. I welcome the entire Dugong team because without their support and their help, it may not be material. So I welcome you all. I also welcome the all the participants. There are many participants. I hope they are all attending through this webinar. So I extend my warm welcome to them. Actually, with this, I conclude my welcome address. So over to Dr. Oshni.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to request Sri Virendra Tiwari, IFS, Director, Wildlife Institute of India, to say a few words.
Thank you, Dr. Oishini. Thank you so much. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all for the World Dugong Day 2025. And as pioneer of World Dugong Day, Wildlife Institute is very happy to welcome all the experts from various countries such as Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and our own Indian expert. The dugong in India is mainly distributed in three regions, Gulf of Mannar and Pak Bay, Gulf of Kutch, and Andaman and Nicobar Island. And it's a very fascinating animal in the marine system. And India, recognizing the urgency of saving dugong due to various threats which they are facing, Government of India has included it in Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, and also we have joined hands with UNEP and CMS. We have signed MOU for dugong conservation way back in year 2008, and we are committed for dugong conservation and also to study the ecology across the range. The MOU basically aims in identifying population of dugong in the country and study dugong ecology. To achieve this target of under this MOU, Wildlife Institute of India has been assigned the task by Government of India for assessing the current status of dugong and its habitat. And the majorly it has three objectives. One is research and monitoring. The other is capacity building program for frontline staff and field managers. And the third one is outreach and community awareness program. This program is funded by National Campa Authority, and this is under aegis of Endangered Species Recovery Program. We are also working for the species such as Gangetic river dolphin, Great Indian bustard, and Manipur sangai. Now, MOFCC and Wildlife Institute of India, since last, I think around 5 years, we are working for conservation of dugongs, and we are collaborating with many other line agencies or the stakeholders such as Forest Department, such as Fisheries, Indian Navy, Indian Coast Guard, and Wildlife Institute of India strives to enable the agencies for monitoring of the ecosystem on their own through constant outreach and capacity building. It's a pleasure to say that they have been equally invested in dugongs and their habitat conservation due to efforts of WII. We are also involving the community members. We are training them for scuba diving, for flying drones, and now some of them have learned this technology of flying drones and helping us in assessment of population of dugongs. And we are also involving community through a Dugong scholarship, where the students of 3 states are getting benefit, and we are involving them in conservation through awareness programs. We are also studying seagrass and assessing the seagrass availability in the ecosystem. And we are supported by the state forest departments. And I am very confident that, and also wish the organizers a very successful webinar, and to learn from what other countries are doing for conservation of dugong. And thank you so much. And I again wish you all a very happy World Dugong Day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So now we will proceed. First, I would like to introduce today's moderator, that is Professor K. Sivakumar. He literally needs no introduction, at least for us. He is currently serving as a faculty member in Pondicherry University, but he has served as Scientist G previously with Wildlife Institute of India, where he has led several landmark conservation initiatives. He played a pivotal role in conceptualizing and initializing this Campa Dugong recovery project and continues to play a very important role as its co-principal investigator. His expertise spans marine as well as freshwater ecosystems. Not only this, in terms of policies, he has been instrumental in drafting the 5th National Biodiversity Report, as well as significantly contributing to the 3rd Wildlife Action Plan. Not only this, he's also an expert advisor to Niti Aayog, the MOAFCC, on all matters related to marine biodiversity and sustainable development goals. With an academic and policy portfolio that literally can fill a book, quite literally, his CV runs around 40 pages. This brief overview merely touches the depth of his contribution to wildlife conservation in India. So now it is my pleasure to invite Professor K. Sivakumar to take over as moderator.
Uh, Good morning to everybody. Thank you very much, Dr. Vishnu, for having me in this particular webinar. Uh, Good morning to all of you and a very, very happy World Dugong Day. And this is the day we dedicated to celebrate and appreciate the excellent ecological services that dugongs provide to their ecosystem, especially the seagrass habitat, which is a very, very critical habitat for the livelihoods of millions of people, especially the fishermen in the world, actually. So we celebrate this day to just to remember their ecological services. And this year theme, we chooses to celebrate the dugong and to discuss something about their ecology and their ecological services, especially their habitat ecological services. That is the theme of this particular dugong, because we discussed a lot about their distribution conservation in the earlier Dugong days. But this year, we are going to focus exclusively on the ecological aspect, because ecological aspects of a species is very critical to pinpoint the problem so that we can address the problem to bring back the species when they are endangered. So it is really applicable to the dugong, especially in the South Asian regions population. So with this introduction, we have two sessions today webinar. The first session starting with none other than the great Dr. H.S. Das is known for a seagrass ecologist and biologist, and he will be giving us a overview about the status and ecology and conservation perspective of dugong in the world. And followed by, we'll be starting a panel discussion with the four experts that I will discuss later, and where we will be looking into certain aspects of the ecology of the dugong, what we know. There are different techniques, all those things we'll be discussing. So first, let us start with the keynote address by Dr. H.S. Das. H.S. Das, as I mentioned, many of you are known to him. And I know him because my interaction with him as a teacher and a student. So he took me to do snorkeling in the water near Indra Point in a Great Neck over way back in 1996. So before that, he was actually traveling all along the Andaman Nicobar Islands and diving and snorkeling the almost all the seagrass birds in that island and looking into their ecology and distribution pattern of the seagrass. Probably he is the first Indian to have an extensive study on seagrass distribution in Andaman Nicobar Islands. And after that, Dr. Das served sometimes in the SACAN. That's again that institution comes under the Ministry of Environment. And later he joined the as an expert and a scientist into the Abu Dhabi-based environment agency, where he served as a scientist and he helped the Abu Dhabi government, United Arab Emirates, to have a better understanding about the dugong and their habitats in that region. And he significantly contributed into the knowledge gap that helped to actually recover the population in that region, and then it helped a long-term conservation of the dugongs in that area. And he is right now as an expert in the marine species and habitat research at the Environment Agency, as I mentioned, in Abu Dhabi. And he has about more than 30 years. In fact, he was one of my teachers who introduced me to the marine ecosystem. And he's actually teamed up with this various international university. And most importantly, Dr. Das was also one of the uh, member of the Dugong Task Force constituted by the government of India to develop the National Dugong Action Plan in the country. His contribution was very immense to help and helped us to develop a better conservation plan. And that is the plan now Wildlife Institute of India implementing with the help of the various states and other agencies, as mentioned by the Director Wildlife Institute of India. And Dr. Das also right now supervising various national and international projects that is related to marine research, especially the marine mammal. With this introduction, I invite Dr. H.S. Das to give a keynote address on the current status, ecology, and the distribution pattern and conservation perspective of dugongs at the global level. Over to Dr. H.S. Das.
Thank you, Dr. Sivakumar. It's so kind of you for your wonderful words, and I think you have overestimated me. Anyway, it is a very, for me, a very happy day. World Dugong Day, probably Wildlife Institute of India and India as such, through Kampa project started. Not many people worldwide celebrate this, and following your footsteps, we have a post today going for social media post in Abu Dhabi to say that World Dugong Day, and this is what we are doing for dugongs. And yesterday they were very in a hurry to do that, because not many know about it, and you are the first one to start this one. Ladies and gentlemen, faculty of WI and other institutes, those who are attending, a very happy World Dugong Day, and thank you very much. And to the director of WII, I would like to say that the Kampa project is a very well-known project globally. In our IUCN Siren and Specialist Group meetings, in CMS meetings, in many meetings with international experts, Kampa projects, especially the outreach programs, subsidies, stakeholder engagement, people's involvement in conservation. There are some components in your project which are not actually followed worldwide. And we are learning from you, and we are going to implement those things in Southeast Asia. Many of the projects coming through now, Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund, I am a member, and I'll be putting all these lessons that we have learned through your project. Your project is one of the best projects that we have in Southeast Asia. Now, today we gather to celebrate World Dugong Day, and I again congratulate for your interest in to understand dugong and your commitment to conservation of dugongs and their habitats. I thank our organizers, Dr. Oishani, for considering me today for today's talk on ecology of dugong and its habitat. When I heard this topic, I thought it is a very easy one, and I can do it without much preparation. And when I went through, made a list of what we know about ecology of dugongs and their habitats, and my list, what we know, was smaller, and what we do not know was longer. And that actually surprised me, when I see that the panel discussions are following, and there are topic of gap analysis and all these things that will be interesting, and I'm looking forward to participate and listen from you learn people on what are the gaps still there. The gaps are not only for India, it is, or Southeast Asia, it is a global like information gap and knowledge gap in dugong and seagrass ecology is one. Next slide, please. Sarinans are mostly, they are the coastal and herbivores. You all know dugong and seagrass, so I'll not go to basic information about these species. Just to tell you that the dugongs are of our interest today, and most of the dugongs we have in Arabian Gulf, Red Sea, Southeast Asia, East Africa, and Australia has got the maximum numbers. And we do have dugong, other species of Sirenians in Africa, West Africa, South America, and Florida. Next slide, one. Looking at, oh, I'm sorry, my mic was mute.
Yes, sir, just for a moment. Now I can hear you.
Did you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. You can continue, sir. We can hear you properly.
Okay, so when we go for this research and conservation of dugongs, when we consider this aspect of dugong ecology, or to learn ecology, so that we can go for this, we will have to look for species as well as habitat, species monitoring, and habitat protection, conservation. All aspects of conservation we'll have to see, and that should include outreach programs, education, awareness, citizen science, and community participation. Without that, it is extremely difficult to achieve our targets. Next slide, please. Now, this interaction of dugong community and all these things while making the strategy, this one is very important, because dugong and its main habitat seagrass are closely linked. Dugongs cannot live without seagrass, and seagrass is the staple for dugong, that we know. But coastal communities also heavily depend on these ecosystems, and their livelihood depend on coastal ecosystem. So that is why they come in contact with dugong as well as in seagrass. So most of our conservation efforts or study in ecology also involves communities. So dugong, seagrass, and communities, they all three together in a harmonious way can actually help us in conserving dugong as well as its habitat. Next slide, please. Now, looking at the population of dugongs are uneven. If you see, there are some areas like Australia, we have got 85 to 90,000 dugongs. So higher population size has been reported from Australia, Arabian Gulf, Red Sea, while small populations are known to occur in East Africa, Southeast Asia, and Indian Ocean. If you see, 89% of the total global dugong population present in Australia water. And so Australia has got a greater responsibility than us. But problem with Southeast Asia and Indian Ocean region or East Africa is that with smaller population, any incidents or event that is detrimental to the coastal ecosystem can actually put a bigger and larger risk on dugong population survival and stability. So that is not what Australians or Arabian Gulf or Red Sea researchers face. Any loss can be compensated with time, but with smaller population, that's the problem. We always have this issue. So we'll have to be extra careful in implementing our conservation plan, involving stakeholders in right time, in right place. Next slide, please. Now, coming back to population estimation. Population estimation at this point of time, I would attract your attention to revisit conservation.tools, which is our dugong, seagrass, and community toolkits that we developed, where I think WI was deeply involved in that, developing that. Dr. Shivakumar knows, and we used to work together for developing that toolkit, which is very helpful, especially for researchers and students, those who are interested in coastal ecosystems and dugong conservation. Here, for it depends on budget. If you have budget, then you can go for drone or helicopter survey, aircraft survey. You can get like the number, estimated population size, this thing. But how do we get this number? How we estimate abundance of dugong? If you go through this toolkit, which is available online and free, that will help you in finding the methodology that you can apply to your situation and your range. In case of Arabian Gulf, what we did, we use helicopters. In Australia, they use aircrafts. And Drones are now used using artificial intelligence. You can monitor these animals. It's bit expensive, and drones we have tried and seen that when behavior study comes, when you want to know the habitat preference of dugong, when you want to see how mother calf interacts, what kind of foraging behavior these dugongs have, that helps. And we are now starting a pilot project using several multispectral and hyperspectral drones to collect data on dugong behavior in southwestern Arabian Sea. Not very sure. There are methodologies you can follow. Which one will be appropriate for you? In case there is no budget, still interview surveys, anecdotal evidences, citizen science will help. So you can actually like use any of the methods. But estimating population is very important, and their distribution is also, knowing their distribution is extremely important too for conservation of this species and their habitats. Next slide, please. When we talk about habitats of dugongs, I see three, at least three. Maybe you can add few more, but basically, foraging habitat is the one, which is seagrass and macroalgae. Why I included macroalgae, I'll tell in a later stage. Migratory routes, that is the coastal water between the seagrass meadows and rarely through deep water. Dugongs are not very good swimmers. They don't prefer rough sea and deep seas, so rarely they pass through that. There are few exceptions, and data through satellite tagging program in Australia, where they have moved hundreds of kilometers, but rarely they do that. But reproduction sites, again another one. So that this is one habitat, that shallow coastal waters and sheltered areas. Sheltered areas are backwaters, lagoons, and in the corner of islands, where they can protect young ones from high tide and all this. So that is how these dugong habitat studies are being done, and these are considered as dugong habitats. Biotic factors. There are components and parameters which we should monitor regularly. Mapping of habitats are extremely important. Without um, without that, it is very difficult. But we have used remote sensing. LiDAR is very expensive, but remote sensing is sometimes free, sometimes you'll have to pay for better resolution and better data. So drone with multi and hyperspectral camera, again permission problem. You may not get permit from agencies that deal with security and all these. We have tried many in this, but currently our water is getting more turbid, hyper saline, with development, coastal development, lots of coastal activities and anthropogenic pressure, and added by climate issues. The water is getting eutrophic with high nutrient, turbid, and it is very difficult for remote sensing data to actually map seagrass with accuracy that is acceptable to us. And for that, we tried something low cost assessment of mapping, which today, after this talk, I have one with Mozambique and Madagascar. They are also observing Dugong Day, and but I am going to talk about low cost assessment of seagrass. Next slide, please. Now, mostly this ecology and all these things, what we see here, seagrass ecology, it's a study that most of you know. I know you are very talented, and your students are Dr. Sivakumar. I have seen his students and WIA students, very talented, and you know what kind of parameters to study, how to monitor, how to survey, and all these things. But one thing I want to emphasize here: the extent of seagrass habitat or any habitat is very important. Unless your mapping and characterization is proper, then you cannot assess ecological services and benefits properly. So you have got two components to see: extent of habitats, that means mapping of whether seagrass or any other ecosystem you are studying, and habitat health. Habitat health is a very wide subject. What is health? I cannot define also. It depends on your study and parameters, whether it is biomass. See, look at the right side photo, right side bottom one, full of epiphytic like components, algae, and they cover seagrass completely, because our water is eutrophic. During summer, water temperature goes up to 36 degrees centigrade. All the seagrasses die off or gets covered with algae and other epiphytes. There will be no, so these are very unhealthy seagrass patches, and sometimes they die off completely. Only roots and rhizomes will be there, and so that doesn't solve and gives proper ecological services and benefit. So please, while monitoring, keep and note that health assessment has to be proper as you define what is health, and extent has to be perfect and accurate. Otherwise, your ecological services and benefits cannot be assessed properly. Next slide, please. Coming to food and feeding behavior of dugongs, seagrass is staple. You know, most of these things are known for, from the Google search also. If you do, you can do Dr. Helen Ma's book on ecology of Sirenians. There also you have many of these information. But just to tell you that dugong and seagrass ecology, when you study for your area, for your range, the data will be different. I have noticed that while doing it in Aravan Gulf area. We have seen things are different, size, morphological differences are there, requirements difference there. Sometimes dugongs do not eat seagrass because there will be no seagrass available, and they are pregnant, so they'll have to eat something. So they go to macroalgae, and many of the dead dugongs, while doing necropsy during summer, we find the alimentary canal full of macroalgae. So that means when they are forced not to, they don't get anything, and seagrasses are less, they can look for some other marine flora, which is mostly macroalgae. So that sort of thing is not seen in Australia or Philippines and Indonesia. Maybe they have got less dugong and more seagrass, so that's how it can be managed. But you'll have to do that. And looking at the right side photo where these dugong feeding trails are there, please note that these trails are actually helping seagrass to grow. If you are a plant scientist or in your graduation, you would have studied that with this type of pruning. So it takes 2 to 3 weeks depending on species. I think in Andamans and all these in India, with Thalassia hemprichis, Hymodecia, and other species, that might take little more time. But pioneer species like Halodule, Halophila, and all these things, in 2 weeks you can those patches will be covered. Next slide, please. Now, coming back to habitat research, I'll not take much time, but this is what the low cost, like 20,000 US dollar, we can finish such mapping exercise. Remote sensing will be free, and most of the countries, they have got data that is available. But remote sensing cannot map seagrass accurately in deeper water, more than 10 meters, not possible. So for that, we can go ahead with a drop camera, which fishermen mostly use. You can use, means you can get in like 20,000, 30,000 rupees, Indian rupees. You can get one or two of those drop cameras. There will be no need to dive or no need to spend time there. Sitting on the boat, you can just get your data, what is the marine resources underneath, and then with a simple data set you can analyze and map those areas where satellite has got limitations. Next slide, please. We divided actually the whole area of to 20 meters, I think 15, 17 meters, 10 to 17 meters, and two different grids. Every grids we had 2 3 points, random points, mostly center point, and those Mercedes Benz kind of tri-radiated random sites. We took and just dropped the camera to see how much seagrass we have. Then those dots you see, those brown ones, are green sea turtle and hawksbill turtles. Um, Green sea turtle and hawksbill turtles locations that is uh, received from satellite tags that we have used in our previous experiment. So we know that green turtles feed on seagrasses. So those are the points we also covered, but most of these points we didn't get seagrass also, because maybe they were the resting sites, or hawksbills were going for sponges and oysters. So we got some new information through that, not only seagrass study, but oysters, hard bottoms, coral heads, new areas where we saw seagrass and coral heads, which were not discovered before or known before. So nowadays, with climate issues, things are moving, seagrasses are moving to deeper water for better light penetration and all these things, because coastal waters are disturbed. So you will get, really, with less money, you will get good data if you are planning to do that. But planning has to be proper and execution has to be timely. Cost will be less. Next slide, please. Migration, it is a big question. Many of the Dugong researchers from Southeast Asia and Africa are not very happy with our IUCN or even IUCN specialist group. We get lots of questions. They say, you did it, why you don't allow us to do it? But now in UAE and Arabian Gulf, Australia, it's not done. Looking at the welfare of the animal, dugongs migrate for food and reproduction. Yes, they migrate, but knowing their migration path also very important for their conservation. They do not pass through or go through deep seas. Rarely they do that, but in our water, probably we don't know that aspect. Recently, there is a suction cup that is being fixed now with dugong to see, and it will follow this one. There will be no teether. So that is where we are benefited actually. We are doing this research with a captive dugong in SeaWorld Abu Dhabi. That captive dugong will be fitted with this next month. We are doing this experiment with James Cook University. Once results are out, you will find this. It will be a report of Environment Agency Abu Dhabi and James Cook University Australia. And after the success of this one, it will be a very cheap product that anyone can use. So we'll make a method protocol for this, and it will be easier and better. The earlier one, in the first photo, if you see, there'll be 2 meters almost teether which can get entangled and kill animals. There are several incidences. Some people have reported, some not, but we know it has happened. And looking at the welfare of the animal, we have kept this program on hold, and no one is doing migration study using satellite transmitters currently, as I know. Next one, please. Now, looking at the reproduction and life cycle thing, these are all information available in books, text, and some research from Australia. But it is better that we do it locally. We call different life stages. If you see, calves are like up to 1.2 meters, 35 kg. These are the data from Abu Dhabi and Arabian Gulf area. Juveniles are up to 1.6, subadult 2 meters, because we have seen reproduction or animals in reproductive condition at 2 meters length and 100 kg kind of weight. So it is better to know how these animals, like their morphology and their life stages in your water. And anything above 1.8 or 2 meters, you must consider that it is an adult. And they can grow up to 3.3 meters in Indian Ocean region, but Australian dugongs are bigger. So other informations are available in the text and all this from Australia, and some we are having and not published yet, but it will come quickly. Looking at the age at death, so it is very easy. Whenever you get a dead dugong, just use their tusk and with longitudinal section you can find out what at what age they are dying. For example, in Australia, they die means age at death, average age at death is 70 years, where in our water, whatever less, if you go for more number of samples, statistically it will be more accurate. In our case, 20, 30 samples we have done, and what we have seen is only 48 years. That is a very strange thing. Next slide, please. Now coming to mortality, I will not take more time because it means other speaker and panel discussions are there. Um, so please, so what has happened? This aspect of Dugong study is very important, very very important, and I will suggest everyone to look for the cause of Dugong mortality. And there is one component, potential biological removal. This I would expect everyone to study, and we are trying to apply this in our research. It will tell you how many dugongs can die unnaturally, or how many dugongs can be taken out of the population, which will not impact the status of your population. The causes of mortality in Arabian Gulf or bycatch hunting is less actually, but vessel strike unknown, like they don't tell you, but you will have to look for this. This is the global scenario. The vessel strike, and there will be many many unknown and natural causes like death, old age death kind of thing. Next one, please. If you do mortality investigation, I have given one example only how this can spike up. Like during COVID 2020, suddenly the number increased 49. We have got 3,000 dugongs. 40 dugongs means 50 dugongs means we lost actually more than 1%, which is not, the PBR doesn't allow us to, like our conservation actions are not that great that we can afford to lose more than 1%, because these are the slow breeding animals and its recruitment rate is very low. Pregnancy 3 to 7 years, we don't know how many pregnancies. Few of the dugongs we saw pregnancy mark, and we found that old female dugongs 4 or 5 pregnancy marks. So 4 or 5 times they got pregnant. How many survived, we don't know. So in whole life, a female dugong can actually in our water. That is why you should do that. Use a vet, because as biologists we have limited experiences on veterinary aspect of dugong's reproductive behavior and stages. So please use that one. Monthly also you collect data to see which month critical, so that conservation action can be taken. Australia and UAE and other countries in the region also using that sort of thing. Next one, please. When you do that, you see a very disturbing trend. Female dugongs are dying more than male dugongs, like 76, or I can see clearly more than 70% of dugongs are females are dying. This is the unnatural death, and compared to male. And in a population where they're slow breeding and long gestation period, with pressure, urban development, habitat loss, and all these things, more females going out of population will actually drop the status of the status of species will go down or get into higher threatened category unless we take action. So these are some of the statistics that will help you in knowing that in future what kind of situation or things is going to happen to the population. Same way, life stages, we have seen many dugongs with fetus, like pregnant dugongs, females dying, calves dying, many small ones, subadults. So that is why you need to know at what, how you will call subadult, juvenile, or calves, or female dugong length. So more data if you collect, then things will be different. And also compare it where you are getting, whether within MPA or outside MPA. We are getting more dead dugongs within MPA. It doesn't mean that in fact most of our dugongs are within MPA, and that is why numbers are more. But it is better to see that, so that MPA management plan can be strengthened. PBR is determined by age and at first reproduction. We don't know 16 or 17 years. Rate of fertility, how many times a female dugong gets pregnant. That is minimum population size with standard deviation. When you see, the lowest number will be used. And also maximum rate of increase per year. How many dugongs? What is the mother calf pair in your water? So there are lots of things, but it's a very interesting study. If you can do PBR study, that will be very helpful for our region. Not many people have done, actually. In Australia they have done this, but we need slightly larger population to study this. Otherwise data will be like standard deviation will be very high. Next slide, please. Again, conservation, all these things that threats, local laws, federal laws, MPAs, deep dugong protected areas, important marine mammal areas, key biodiversity areas, all those things are okay. But implementation and monitoring of these areas will be very important. And without that, conservation will not be fruitful. Next one, please. That is why, if you see globally, dugongs are vulnerable. But if you go for some subpopulations in Pacific islands, East Africa, and all these things, it is going from critical, endangered, and all other categories, more higher threatened categories. Australian subpopulation is vulnerable. Arabian and Persian Gulf of subpopulation is vulnerable because they have large population. It is means loss of population is not much, means comparatively with the smaller population. That is why it is better to do red listing, so that you know the status of dugong of your region. Next one, please. Rescue and rehabilitation is a big question. I think the expert from Qatar is here. They face the same problem. We got 4 or 5 calves separated from mother. Only one survives, and it is in SeaWorld. In case you are visiting Abu Dhabi, and I at this point of time, I'll tell all of you that 2026 October, in Abu Dhabi, we are having International Seagrass Biology Workshop. That is the World Seagrass Congress, World Seagrass Association meeting in our agency. And I invite you all. I'll send one invitation, like that is a interest form. Please fill in. It is a Google form kind of thing. So fill in so that you will be communicated. Please try to attend. It is close to India. And if you are coming here, then we can have several. And most of the studies will have like ISBW will have different workshops using technology, how you can study, and rehabilitation of seagrass and all this. Please remember that 2026, and site will be open next month. Okay, coming back to rescue rehabilitation, big challenges. We are trying our best, but very difficult to make a calf separated from mother survive. We have challenges, and 1, 3, 5, 6 years old now is in SeaWorld. If you are coming to Abu Dhabi, please visit SeaWorld. Through Rescue Center, you need not pay anything as a researcher. We'll arrange that. You can go and visit this dugong and see its behavior. We have separate research programs going on with captive dugong, in collaboration with James Cook University. Please visit and see, and talk to those researchers. They will explain how difficult and how expensive this process can be. But there are some protocols in CMS. Please follow that. Even you can consider not protecting it and not rehabilitating it. It is expensive and long-term commitment. Next slide, please. Restoration of seagrass habitat, again, not cost effective, very expensive. 200,000 US dollar for hectare. Vegetative propagation, maybe it's slightly cheaper if you go for seed spreading and through seed, but vegetative propagation, which is most common, is very expensive. Success rate, not much. You will have to struggle. And for for ecosystem services, for wildlife, for this 1 hectare, 2 hectares, you can do 10 hectares, which is not much. So that is why it is better to protect seagrass than thinking of restoring. Next slide, please. I think I took more time than I was given, but I couldn't manage because if I had I had few videos to show you also, but I'll stay back and then allow the organizers to go ahead. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you all, and I'll wait for any question, and um, also I'll take part in panel discussions as and when I am asked a question. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So now we do have two questions in the chat box. We'll just quickly take them. So we have Akash, who asks if you have observed any feeding competition between sea turtles and dugongs when they were in the same meadow.
No, we have seen actually feeding. There are some areas where dugongs and turtles together they feed, they graze, they ignore each other. Underwater, we have seen, and turtles feeding technique is just to chop off leaves, whereas dugongs actually uproot and wash off and then consume that one. They don't. There is no competition. We have not seen any. They ignore each other rather.
Okay, sir. And the next question we have from Shrabni, if there are any eDNA studies that works for dugongs to estimate the population.
Is this is new technology EDNA study by Technological Institute over here, and also by World. I think we had Canadian Woodsworth a whole institute also they tried. eDNA is in our water, especially is giving lots of chaos. Chaos means debris. They are getting phytoplankton. They are getting bacteria. This one, even in dugong areas where dugongs are feeding, and you can see the poo of dugong and sea turtles there, it is getting difficult. They're trying. I think it's new. It will be very helpful. Probably, I will. I'll wait for some time to confirm that if we are successful doing that. We tried, but I don't think we saw something really good. Mm, is it possible somehow? I don't know. Can I share something for 2 minutes?
Sure, sir. We can put, you can share it and put it.
Uh, Probably that question, which
Mm,
do you see something?
yes, sir.
Can you play that one? It's very interesting. Last season we were doing dugong using drone, but also we went underwater and then yeah. Wait for some time, you will see tens of dugongs, 10, 20 dugongs together. Um, there is sound also. You can increase this one. They will sometimes they do not graze. They just pass time there. And this is Marawa Marine Biosphere Reserve. This mother and baby, frankly, means in literature you will not find that dugongs deliver twins, but we have seen in two occasions dugong with twins. Maybe that's one, or mother abandoned the one and adopted by one. We don't know that part of reproductive biology of dugongs. You can stop the video because it is taking time. Others are waiting there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So we have one more question. We'll take it later. Maybe we can send it via email. For now, we'll move on to the next part of our program, that is the panel discussion. So before we move on to the panel discussion and I actually invite Professor Sivakumar to take over, I'd like to introduce the panelists for today. So first we have Dr. J. Johnson, Scientist F and Registrar and Head Department of Habitat Ecology Wildlife Institute of India. Dr. Johnson is a leading expert in seagrass ecology and marine mammal conservation and currently heads India's Dugong recovery program. With over 3 decades of experience, he has played a central role in advancing habitat monitoring and policy driven conservation strategies along India's coastline. Next, we have Professor John M.K. Wong, Advisor, Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Qatar. Professor Wong has been promoting marine conservation globally for over 3 decades through his work on coral reefs, marine mammals, and whale shark protection. His contributions span research, education, and international policies, including inputs to global reports on dugongs, cetaceans, and sharks. Dr. Ranil P. Nanyakara, Regional Member, IUCN SSC Sirenian Specialist Group. He is a Sri Lankan conservation biologist with over 20 years of experience studying dugongs, sperm whales, and other lesser known marine mammals. He leads Sri Lanka's longest running marine mammal research programs and has authored key field guides on species identification and currently is working on bioacoustics. Then we have Akbar A. Digdo, Chairman and CEO, Yapka, Indonesia. Digdo applies a socio-ecological framework to marine conservation, focusing on dugongs and seagrass ecosystems within Indonesia's Wallacea biodiversity hotspot. His work bridges science, sustainability, and community engagement across small island ecosystems. Now I invite Professor K. Sivakumar to take over as the moderator for the panel discussion.
Uh, Thank you, Dr. Vashni. In fact, before inviting my colleagues for a panel discussion, I would like to highly appreciate and thankful to Dr. Das for giving a overview about the ecology and conservation perspectives of the Dugong. Though it is very brief, but he covered everything. He addressed the entire gamuts of the issue, whether with respect to research or conservations or management or technology. So thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful talk. And also we are very thankful to for your complimentary to our Campa Dugong project. You said is one of the best in the world, and we are really grateful to you. And that too, from you, it is really a lot for us. Now, we are actually running a 30 minutes shortage of time, but although there are several questions posted for Dr. Das, that will be taken up at later stage if the time permits. I directly go to these 4 panel members representing Qatar, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and India. So we'll be touching the 4 important aspects to understand the ecology and Dugang as well as their habitat. Let's start with my colleague, Dr. Johnson. How India is actually applying the citizen science to understand the ecology of dugongs and their habitat. And I understand that they use this particular technology techniques for a dual purpose. One is understanding about the ecology as well as creating a awareness among the citizen. That is a in a very nice way they're doing it. Let us uh, hear from Dr. Johnson about their approach and their involvement in this program. So each panelist will have a 5 minutes time. Please kindly stick to the time duration. So over to Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Dr. Shivakumar. Well, actually, in fact, no, the earlier session was no very informative, and Dr. Das has given a very vast information about the ecology of Dugong. So, after listening all those things, no, the knowledge what we are having in India is just a drop in the ocean, actually. So, whatever the ecology we know, it is very very minimal, I would say. In fact, way back in 2016, when we have started this program, so we were visualizing the entire species recovery program as a participatory approach actually. So normally in the wildlife recovery, wildlife management in India, we go for species recovery program, straight away recovering the species. But this is the one program we approach in a slightly different manner. It's called participatory approach manner. The reason is that already the animal is in the the people hand actually. So major stakeholders like a fisherman, navy, other line agencies like a coast guard, the police, all these people, they are governing the habitat. So unless otherwise, without their cooperation, we can't able to success. We can't bring back that population to in a great extent. So that's what our mindset. Coming to the ecology aspect, since we have very small population, we do not have a big populations like the Middle East. So we have very small population. Sighting the animal itself now very very difficult. It very elusive animal. Everybody we know actually. If you want to get a information about the ecology, feeding habit, the movement pattern, the seasonal migration, also we need to get this information from the custodian, especially people, through citizen science network. So that's what we visualize in our program. And again, no, it is not an easy job in our team, especially the Campa Dugong Recovery Program team in the field. They implemented, in fact, in the field actually. So it's a multi process approach actually. Several level. First level, first meeting the people, citizens of different stakeholders, and first step is giving a awareness program. So there are a lot of awareness program, mass awareness program, specifically targeting to this citizen science team. Second, the training as well as the capacity building program for the citizens science people, right from fishermen, the naval, coast guard, the marine police, including the forest staff. Those who are all part of the managing the seagrass habitat as well as the dugong. So second level, we have given a lot of training program, capacity building program, how to understand the species, how to monitor, how to record the, if at all, if they come up with any encounter. Third level is we got a confident actually. So we won the confidence of the citizens. So they become they voluntarily they joined hand with us, our team, and they started providing information, started sharing the information. Then whatever the information we gathered, that we nicely put it in our data domain, and we started gathering information about the ecology. For example, the people, those who are venturing to the field, whether it's a fisherman or the frontline staff, whatever the sighting information they are giving, or the animals stranding or anything is happening. So we get to know the first and their location where they are using it actually. So the habitat related information we are getting, and what season they are observing that animal in that particular area, and the other oceanographic data also simultaneously we are getting, and species to species interaction, maybe interaction with the dolphin, interaction with the fish, or interaction with the turtle. So this kind of small information we started gathering actually. So otherwise, unless otherwise, without their information, without their knowledge, we can't able to narrow down the dugong, the foraging ground, dugong critical habitat. So all these informations, whatever information we gathered, we put it in a domain, and we can able to clearly narrow down the critical dugong habitat, critical seagrass habitat, wherever the, even including some places we have found out like a legging site. We suspect actually regularly they come for mating, and there are some special habitat where where we always they cite mother and calf actually, the people. So these kind of ecological information we got it through the citizen science network. So currently we have a very good team of volunteers They're all connected through WhatsApp. So that is the big strength, and we call them as a Dugong ambassadors, and they share all these information wherever they get this information. So that is the one of the great successful story of about this Dugong recovery program, as well as in the counterpart we are getting so much information about the Dugong and their ecology. So that's all I would like to share in this forum. And if any question, I'll come back later. I am happy to say that my friends like Dr. John and Dr. The Das, they are all sitting very close to the my place right now. I'm in Muscat, so I am attending uh, the marine mammal conservation program. So I'm happy to stay very close to the Dr. John as well as the Das actually. Thank you. Over to Dr. Shivakumar.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. Thank you very much sharing with us about uh, the citizen science, how it's helping to understand especially the knowledge gaps about the abundance of the population. Otherwise, it's a very rare to cite the dugongs in India. How you created a excellent network of volunteer, as well as you created a more than 1,700 dugong ambassadors. Through them, how you approach their parents to protect the dugong. It's amazing work. Thank you very much for joining us. Although we know that you are actually have to join another meeting. So anyway, thank you very much for sharing with us. And now we move to India to Indonesia. Indonesia also equally doing excellent job in conserving the dugong and their habitat in that region. And we heard about that the social ecological framework that is the Indonesia applied and collected some good data related to the ecology of the dugongs. So we would like to know from Mr. Akbar Diko about this social ecological framework which they applying or implementing in Indonesia. So over to Mr. Akbar.
Thank you, Dr. Sivakumar and everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. And I actually prepare a presentation, so I would like to share my screen now, just for the sake of time. So just go ahead with the presentation.
You can go ahead with the presentation. Yeah, no issue.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so just to give you a context that dugong in Indonesia in some particular area are really easy to see, and in many aspects, as already being mentioned by Dr. Das, that it has a close relation to the human and seagrass. So we cannot really separate this. This picture is just to make sense to you all that it can play really close to human activities, and we'll dive into some of the facts later on. But I think the keyword is dugong, human and seagrass cannot really be separated in some place of Indonesia. Yeah, so just to give you a quick updates on what's going on in the field, that if you see in the distribution already, can be seen that Indonesia have a big chunk of habitats that are available for dugong. We also have very complex seagrass ecosystem. We recently also found newly published species, which is up in the lower left corner on the screen, the Rupia brevipendiculata. So this is resonate that new findings of seagrass is really possible in Indonesia. So this one is particularly confirming another finding in China and this particular species. And species that really important to see to the dugong is also easy to be found in Indonesia, especially Halophila, that available across the coast of Indonesia. So I will move quickly. So this is how we see the overall situation between human seagrass and dugong. Because, I already mentioned today that dugong, human are often can be found in the same place, in the same time, utilizing any kind of resources, fishery resources, in the seagrass ecosystem, both in the high tide and the low tide. And since, Indonesia is a huge archipelagic countries, and with very rich culture, especially in the maritime culture. In almost every islands, they have their own culture in using seagrass as their food resources, especially for the fishery and protein resources. So it is really creating a very complex, and sometimes in many cases, it's very locally bound context. So it's a bit difficult to applying very general view of what's going on in Indonesia in relation to human seagrass and dugong interactions. But I think it's also very important to have at least a general characteristic of the islands all over Indonesia. So yeah, so there are a lot of practices that, especially small-scale fisheries, that related to cultural values that related and interacted with dugong and seagrass. So I will take you one example here. This is a vertical photo of a very complex structure of fish traps in one of the island in Lesser Sunda Island, so close to Australia border. So this is big. This is really big. And this is not recent. Our research indicates that it's already been in those areas since like 6 or even more generations, indicating a lot of knowledge being invested there. And it is also really related in some other cultures in Indo-Pacific areas. So this particular fish trap styles can be also found in, for example, Taiwan, on Solomon Islands, Bismarck Island, and other area in the Pacific, and even in Australia also in some spots. So we don't really understand at the moment how it really can interact with dugong positively or negatively. But you can see in this picture, this fish trap is actually using the energy of receding waters and then trapping the fish and the waters during the low tide in these pockets of traps, and then people can go there and collect. And it's happening right now. And it's not only in one place in Indonesia, but we understand that there are some other practices that similar to this that being done in seagrass area that potentially also being used by dugong. So these kind of practices are really giving more specific characteristic to interaction between human, dugong, and seagrass in Indonesia. So there is a lot of homework for us to understand the whole situation about the trend or the actual dynamics of dugong and seagrass in relation to small-scale fisheries or cultural practices in Indonesia. This is actually part of our project with Seagrass Ecosystem Services, led by UNEP CMS, that being done in Indonesia. We try to have better knowledge in what's really going on in Indonesia about seagrass and dugong. So we have to admit that peer-reviewed or authentic and strong evidence of dugong distribution in Indonesia, in particular in national level, it's not easy to get. So we have to come by with anything that available to help us to understand the situation. So we decided to look at any kind of sightings, data, information that are available in the internet, in the gray literature, anecdotal information that can be verified, and we come up with this information. So the red dots indicates the from any kind of reports, peer-reviewed journals, articles, and the yellow dots represent information from social media. And we able to clean up verifiable around 1,100 data points that indicating that dugong is or has been there from 2010 and 2022. So just to give you a quick profile, you can read on the right side of the screen that most of the sighting reports were actually good news. I think they are living and free, and even 11% of the information indicates that there are multiple numbers in one sightings. And if you look at the distribution of these points, there are some interesting points around Singapore here. There is an island, Batam and Bintan, that actually becoming some kind of refugia. And this is potentially can connect to the population in Malaysia and beyond. Despite this area is really a busy waters with international freighters and maritime activities. Similar information can also being get in the northern Sulawesi. There is potential connectivity with the Philippines, and the southern part also with Australia. Yeah, so 70% of the data points indicate that fatalities has been reported either by bycatches, boat strikes, or hunting. We suspect that hunting is underreported because there is tendency that people don't want to report this because it is illegal to hunt dugong in Indonesia because it is fully protected under the Indonesian law. On the other hand, we also saw the opportunity that people have better access to social media, and we hope that more and more information can be generated from the network of information over social media, internet, or whatever can be accessed. And there are increasingly more and more activities in the coastal area, tourism, fisheries that can be, piggybacked and get more information regarding dugong. Of course, there are some risks on this, but I think the other side of it is also opportunity to get involve them into developing more robust information in dugong distribution in Indonesia. So this one is kind of one of the most exciting information that can be gathered in Indonesia. So it is our honor also to share it here. One of the most recent information that we got. And at least there are also opportunity to utilize OECM as one of the additional conservation measures that can be supporting to dugong and seagrass conservation, meaning that traditional people, indigenous people can be participating more actively in this conservation and have proper acknowledgement from the government and the global network of dugong and seagrass conservation. And this is my last slide. This one is one of our prototype, and we are trying to push ahead and promoting in a national level participative dugong sighting reporting platform. You can try to look and see the feature by yourself using this QR mode. So you are welcome to try and give us some inputs. This is still a prototype, but we are looking forward to have this one more robust and operated and gathering more and more information about dugong distributions and any incident. This is particularly important because we are using this platform when we gather information about the recent calf fatality stranded in North Sulawesi. I think that's also in the loop on this one. And this is quite a concern for us because it's already happening like 3 times in a year that calf are really stranded in northern Sulawesi, so somewhere here. So that's food for thoughts for our discussion later on, and I will end up my presentation here and over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Arbadikto, for excellent work actually done by the Indonesia, that sharing those information with us. And I hope that you could resolve these traditional fishing techniques and their impact on the dugongs in that region. And you ended with saying that some of the sites are deserved to be declared as a OECM. And we too have one OECM, that important marine mammal area of Kalpapannar and Pakpe, which we are sharing with our neighboring friend, Sri Lanka. So Sri Lanka also, along with India, are doing a lot of works and they working with the community and trying to conserve the dugongs in their water. So now I request my friend from Sri Lanka, Ranil. I know him very well, and he has been working on marine mammals, and of course, he's also work on the land animals too. And right now, he's joining from the field only. So thank you very much, Dr. Ranil, for joining us. So please, could you share that what are things are happening in Sri Lanka with respect to marine mammal research, especially in
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I would like to wish everyone a happy Dugong Day, World Dugong Day. Yeah, touching on the marine mammal, I just touch on the marine mammal research that we've been carrying out over the last few years. So when it comes to the larger cetaceans in Sri Lanka, what we have seen is since 2019, there has been a drastic decline in the sightings of blue whales and sperm whales. And this is, of course, attributed to oceanic conditions. So we've been studying the water parameters and, the threats, and also subsequently in the southern part of Sri Lanka, we've been looking at the impact of the ships as well, whether on the ship strikes, because over 5 years ago, the most common largest cetaceans in our waters was the blue whales and the sperm whales. But now it has declined, but that niche, that void has been basically taken over by Bruder's whales and pilot whales. So there is an imbalance related to climate change, but it's very difficult for us to exactly say and pinpoint or point a finger at without having proper tangible data for at least 5 or 6 years. So which we are doing now and which we've been collecting. And when it comes to the dugongs, so basically over the years we've been looking at basically since the dugong's last foothold in Sri Lanka is the Gulf of Mannar and the Pork Bay. We've been looking at the dugongs and we've been coming up with new techniques to study them. So now we are trying to, we had a pilot study where we used helicopters, but the issue that with the helicopters, it cannot go beyond 1.5 kilometers from a shore, but that's sufficient because in those areas, the seagrass meadows are found very close to shore, but we do have a few seagrass meadows that we have identified very, very recently, which is found further offshore between 5 to 10 kilometers from shore. And also we've been using drones to monitor like the dugongs and also fishing activities, because still in Sri Lanka, no matter how much awareness and conservation efforts we have made, still the direct take of dugongs still happen. And obviously the bycatch, because people are trying to basically earn a living. And as you guys might be aware that over the last few years Sri Lanka hasn't been very good. We have run into a lot of crises, like when it comes to the government and various other things, which is basically out of our hands, but it's rather to the people who administrate the country. So we're looking at that. And also in especially in the Pork Bay area, we have been training sample fisher. Basically, we've been selecting young individuals, teams from the fishing community, training them on. We have trained them to, like, now first of all, the first step was snorkeling. So as and when possible, they go out in the fishing boats, and if they suspect that there have been dugongs there, we have been told them to basically get in the water. We have given them GoPros to sort of photograph or video the feeding trails of dugongs, or if they do have a live sighting, to record that as well. And basically they are supposed to document what is really happening out at sea, because we cannot be all over the place in that particular area at the same time, because my team is very we only have 6 permanent cadre, but we have a lot of people who volunteer and help us as well. So we've been doing that. And also we have been throughout the years, now over the last 10 years, we've been continuing with the awareness programs, sort of as and when possible we've been giving incentives to them, replacing their what we call the term the illegal fishing gear with gear that is basically adheres to the government regulations. So it has been successful. And the thing is, since us and India, we both share the same population of dugongs, I always advocate, and I hope it'll we'll be able to achieve that in the future, where we have transboundary research efforts to understand what's really going on. Because we have this, the dugongs do not know the boundaries between two countries, so they travel to and from. But the researchers are unable to move into territorial waters of the respective countries. So if a transboundary effort can be made, it will be very important, and it'll shed light and better understanding as to what is going on, and what is the movement pattern. Because even not only the dugongs, because whilst doing the dugong research in those areas, we also do a lot of work on Susa plumbi, that's the Indian Ocean humpback dolphin, because they both share the same habitat in Sri Lankan waters, likewise in the Indian part as well. So we'll be looking at all these. So and both species on a local context, in our regional context, it's critically endangered. So it's good if we can, sort of get a transbound initiative to study both species, because it will in turn help them. And we have also been conducting a lot of programs to make the fisher understand the importance of the seagrass meadows, and that message has gone home, and they do understand it, because they themselves say that on a regular basis, yearly, that their fish catch is declining. So that is because one is using destructive fishing practice like push nets, drag nets, and in some areas dredging. They use bottom trawling as well. So those are an impact. But subsequently, there you get sedimentation, where the outfall of a couple of major rivers in Sri Lanka carry sediment, and sedimentation is also an issue. So, but we are trying to sort of mitigate all these by get the government agencies also involved, and to ultimately save the dugong. Because not only dugong, I think if we save the dugong and the seagrass meadows, we'll be saving a myriad of different other species, from sharks to guitar fish to rays, and many organisms. So we are gradually crawling out of the well that we fell into, because we had a lot of crises in Sri Lanka after COVID as well, and trying to make an impact to conserve the seagrass meadows and the dugong. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rani. Thank you very much for the update, and really amazed to see that excellent progress by the Sri Lanka. And I agree with you that transboundary initiative is required. We too aware that our fishermen have been telling that the dugongs are seasonal; they're moving between the country water, and we have to study that, monitor, and jointly take care of them. That is what very important actually. I hope that government of India and government of Sri Lanka come forward to work together and study it. And waiting for some technological improvement, which Dr. Das was mentioning. Satellite tracking is not advisable. If we come up with some better method, we try to monitor their movement. When I talk about the technique and tool, it's always very important for a science actually. To understand a species ecology or their habitat, technology and the tools are very, very critical, especially for researchers. In this aspect, Professor John Wang, known for certain innovative technology, especially identification of the marine mammal, very, very difficult to assess their population without recognizing an individual. In that way, he has developed excellent, and he has been working for a long time. We heard a lot about him. So let us hear from Dr. Professor John about that. What are the advanced technological tools available that can be used for in a dugong research who can improve the or conserve the dugong data? So over to Professor John Wang. First of all, thank you very much, sir, for joining with us today. Please, over to you. Sir, you are muted. Yes,
Hello,
sir.
good,
Yes,
hello,
sir.
good
Now
morning.
you-
Thank you, Professor Shivakumar, and distinguished guests, inviting me here to join you at this, the Dugong Day. And I would like to share with you, the works that we've done in Qatar, and also some of the, that we mentioned earlier about the citizen scientists, which is very important, especially when the initial stage of research. For example, when I was working in China in 1997 and 1998, we rely on the fishermen to provide us with the seagrass and also the sightings of the dugongs. And when we start working in Qatar back in 2008, our ministry supported a survey, and then we do the interview with the local fishermen, and they do provide very valuable information about the distributions of the dugongs all around Qatar, and also about reporting the strandings of the dugongs around Qatar. We rely a lot of information from the local fishermen and also the beachgoers and swimmers. So even in 2022 in July, when a very hot summer, an early morning swimmer actually reported 4 newborn baby dugongs in the southeast shores of Qatar. And so initially we wanted to send them back to the sea, but they come back the next morning, so we have to take it back in. But we only managed to save it, keep it for about 1 month, because the nutritional need for the dugong and the marine mammal is much bigger than the land marine and the land milk that we can provide them. At that time during the COVID, we cannot get any other additional supplies. So it was a pity that we've lost 3 of the dugongs, but 1 actually went. We sent them back, and it seems to survive. Okay, let's start with the new research tools to measure and also the photo ID of the dugong. Can I have the next slide, please? This is the location of the Qatar. This is Qatar, the northwest part of Qatar. It's very important for the dugong feeding and nursery. And this island is Bahrain. So between Bahrain and Qatar here, we have a very large population, very dense population of dugongs. In winter time, they come from December to February. We see large herds of dugongs, up to 700 within a very small area. So we need regional cooperation between us, and then all along the shore, the western shore, there have been sightings and strandings of dugong, and we started our study, the ministry study, and also the university also studied since 2018. So we have identified certain area, especially there's a shallow bank where there's a lot of seagrass back there, and then we see a lot of dugong with a mother and calf in there, actually feeding and also travel. And can I have the next one, please? And with the drone, which is easy for us to study because the dugongs are very sensitive to sound. And from boat, we can hardly see, get any information from them. But with the drone, we can actually, follow the dugong. And also we use ROV to study the seagrass, the species of seagrass in that area. And as you can see in one of these pictures here, that sea turtle and also the dugong, they actually share the seagrass bed, and we have not seen any aggressive behavior of the dugong against the sea turtles. So it seems they are quite happy to share this. They set quite a large area of seagrass between Qatar and Bahrain, and it's provided some kind of shelter, and also in winter that could be a very good shelter for the young the calves. Can I have the next one, please? And with the drone, we try to use a standardized technique. A drone is available easily, but because it's near the border, so it's restricted to citizens or other potential researchers. But fortunately, as a ministry, we can use the drone near the border, and then we can actually study the dugong from the drone and then take pictures of it. But we're lucky with John because quite often we do see them, we do miss them. They go between the two countries across the border, so we cannot cross the border. So we have to stay on this side, the Qatar side. So for 3 consecutive years, we started in 2022. We went out and then we saw some of the dugongs, but at that time we did not have the drone. And then in 2023 and 2024, we had the drone video, and actually it provides a very good tool to study dugong herds and the behavior, as well as we use it to photo ID individual ones and study the behaviors. And we try to use a standard height, the altitude. We use 200 to 250 meter altitude to study the population. We can count the number of dugongs over a 3-minute video, so that it can cover some of those that was actually under the water. Then they can be seen, and you can see from this picture there, they're actually mother and calf pairs, and we have counted, and about 14% are mother and calf pairs. So it it matches with other areas, about 9 to 14%. And can I have the next page? There's actually we flying at 250 altitude. We use it to count, and then the number, and then 100 meter to 150, and then we use the photo ID, and also for 5 to 10 meters, we get close. We can actually identify individual dugong from the tail, the necks, and also the patterns, the color patterns. So the mother and calf pair, these are different. And so with these, although we have to wait for very clear weather in order to see these sort of patterns. And can I have the next one, please? And this is an example of the using the drone actually study the movement. There's a kind of formation with some adult, 2 or 3 adults actually leading the group, and then with the mother and calf pairs tend to be around near the front or in the group, and then they're surrounded by other adults. And we consider 2 meters will be adults, from 2 to 3.3 meters. We have also measured the dugong with the reference to the boat. Our boat size is 11 meters. So, comparing, including the picture, the boat in the picture, we can actually measure the size of the dugong with the 11-meter boat. So we measure the size, the dugong population size range from 1.6 3 meter to 3.3 meters. So this is one new way that we can actually measure the dugong. And up here, and then this is the first picture that was actually taken about likely twins. Usually we only see one baby with one big adult, but here we have two very close ones, close to the mother, and they dive together, and they are seen feeding at times. And can I have the next one, please? And this is another picture. And actually, this was given to us by one of the nature photographers. So citizen scientists play a major role in providing information on the dugongs. And this, it's very clear that they stick very close to, and also according to the tail mix, and then we see that it's different from the 2024. And then we saw, someone gave us a video about a very, looks like a weak young calf, but but it's quite bony. We do not see an adult accompanied. So it's a pity that we do see some neonates that actually separated from the mother, and that got a low survival rate. But for some big ones, for 3 months, we have estimated that a young baby dugong that we released in 2022 in July, and we saw it again in the southeast part of Qatar, and it seems it's a little bit bony, but it's still surviving, because that was a big one, 1.3 meter when we had it. So that might survive. And can I have the last one? No more? Okay. So this we try to share with, and we have actually published a paper on our findings in 2 months ago, and we described the use of the drones to study the dugong. Actually, we use this technique from our study with the whale sharks, measuring the populations, counting it, and then and also studying individual sharks. And here we used it applied onto the dugong to measure and also to identify individual dugongs, which is a very useful, cost-effective way, because in the first study of dugong in Qatar or in this area was by helicopter. It was supported by Saudi Arabia and done by Tony Prin back in 1989. But that was very expensive, to use helicopters or airplanes. And even in Qatar here, they are very restrict use of airplanes because of the security reasons, and also so close the borders. So we can only use a drone, and we find it very useful. And we also use ROV to study underwater, and we had some video of the dugong underwater and with mother and calf. But I do not have time to load it this time. But I can share with our organizer, and then you can distribute to anyone interested in that. I'm very happy to see Dr. Das present his a very interesting speech, and then especially his detailed study in the UAE. And I hope that we can work together more closely, because out of the southeast part of Qatar, we are adjacent to the UAE protected area. There are dugongs there, and quite a lot of reports of dugongs come from that area. So that's a possible breeding site for the dugongs. It is very important to the whole population of the region, dugong. And if we can work more closely together, and then with some sort of transboundary cooperation between us and UAE, and also Qatar and Bahrain, then I'm sure we can contribute more in the conservation and protection of the dugong and other migratory species in this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor John Won. Thank you for sharing some of the techniques, especially some tricks also you informed us how to measure the animal morphometry using a drone images. Thank you very much for such a wonderful thing. And also, you said that we cannot rule out the importance of citizen science, although we use some advanced tools and techniques. It's amazing. Thank you very much, sir, for that. Do we have Dr. Josh still? If he's there, you can join in the panel. Yeah. So thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, because we are running short. Actually, we have only 5 minutes more to wind up this panel. So we have one gender questions, because when you talk about ecology and Dugong as well as ecology of their habitat, but still there are a lot of gaps. That's what Dr. Das unposed. Dr. Professor John, Mr. Akbar, and even Dr. Anil also mentioned about that. There are gaps, a lot of gaps are there. So what are those major gaps which is very critical and needs to be addressed immediately, so that we can conserve the dugong at the global level? So now I put up these questions to Dr. Das first, to give us some global perspective. What are the major ecological knowledge gaps with respect to dugong and their habitat that needs to be addressed immediately?
Hi, thank you for asking this question. Very difficult question indeed. We have many knowledge gaps, many and many. For conservation purpose, we need to know their biology fully. We do not know at, especially when at what age they mature, what is their habitat preference, in case of what kind of migration pattern they follow, and how do they respond to certain predators or incidences at sea. So there are many things, because most of the marine mammals have that issue. We do not fully know their ecology and biology. Without knowing that, it is difficult to plan something concrete and accurately for their conservation. But the best thing at this point of time is that we need to have uh, actions in place, conservation actions, to protect dugongs as well as seagrass areas, and to cover them up. Now, coming back to Southeast Asia, coming back to areas where we have low population or small population size, 250, around 250 or less. In those areas, our population estimation has to be as accurate as possible. Using whatever methodology you have, you can do that. Second thing, it's distribution pattern, like where they are distributed and where do they migrate, kind of thing. Those areas need to come under very strict dugong protection areas, DPS. Australia has done that DPS, and they are very successful, and their population is stable to increasing trend, and that is because of the DPS working. That is one. Second thing, seagrass mapping and seagrass mapping up to certain depths. If seagrasses are in 50 meters, probably dugongs are not using that. If seagrasses are within 15, 20 meters, yes. So those type of mapping, if we do, and their habitat, this one. The again, another issue is bycatch or unnatural death. As I showed you in one slide, we'll have to investigate cause of death, and a dead dugong is wealth of information for biologists. Whenever you get a dead dugong, just study their like the cause of death, size, shape, and all those information. That will help in conservation. Again, there is a big knowledge gap in that. So it is dugong population, its morphology and biology. Besides that, their migration. These are few of the migration pattern and the uh, habitat preference. Those are some issues we don't have, and that affects their conservation greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I hope there are several young researchers are actually watching this program online. I hope that they'll pick up these research gaps and uh, try to address this or fill these gaps. Now, among the various gaps, we understood there are a lot of gaps in the ecological information. This is a question for Dr. Rani. If we want to prioritize these gaps for Sri Lanka, what are the research you want to take up immediately so that you can go for conserving the dugong? Because you say that there was listed so many research gaps. Among that, which one is the more critical and you take as a priority, the one or two research program that you need immediately to do in Sri Lanka to conserve the dugong?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Well, the main thing what I see it has to be prioritized is basically because even the seagrass meadows around Sri Lanka are limited. The ones that and so because of that, the main component that we should look into first of all is to understand where do these dugongs go once one area is grazed and basically it's overgrazed. So it we come again to the fact that where the transboundary research is of paramount importance because they've been seen moving now. Even when we question the fisher and when we have these questionnaire surveys, they say that they do see them moving towards Indian waters. So we know that they're always moving about. So and being say like as cattle, they graze one area and one is overgrazed, they move to the next seagrass meadow. And since we have limited seagrass meadows now available, and also when you look at most of the necropsies carried on out on dugongs that were killed or were victims of bycatch, it has shown that most of the gut content consisted more of species of Halophila and Halodula in Sri Lankan waters. So that component is also there. So we have to look at it in a sort of a transboundary way so that we understand exactly what's going on, where do they move to, where do they graze, and prepare. Because somehow some of the people who, the fisher who take dugongs directly, who kill them, seem to know where they, basically hang around. So us researchers have to understand where it is and sort of tap into this network, get an idea, and then based on that move forward and see what's really happening. And also these drone surveys, I've seen that they are yielding a lot of vital information that we needed. So this is a new thing that we have been carrying out for the last 1 year. So we hope to conduct more drone based surveys from our end, and also get the government institutes also involved. So, and if possible, get not only the institutes but also get the government to also pump in money towards this worthy cause, because conserving the dugong will ultimately conserve seagrass meadows, as I mentioned earlier as well. So yeah, for me, I see the main component is the transboundary research to understand what's really going on.
Oh, thank you. I hope that both the government officials are listening to this, and then we will start this work. There is a technology, as Professor John Wong mentioned, because still we believe that there is a technological improvement also required to fully understand the ecology of the dugong. And so that, for example, use the technology photograph, for example, to identify the individual. But then this photo identification also may not be foolproof, because many dugongs may be looks alike without any difference in the physical marking or figment. That is one question put forth by one of our participants also. So what are the technological advancement is still required to understand the marine mammals better?
Yes, it is. We only identify a small portion of the population because of the limitation of the weather, and also as you said, they look alike, but there are actually some marks on the body that can be used as identification. Unlike the other mammals, the dolphins have some other marks. Or it's easier for us with the whale sharks; they have the spot patterns. But using the drone to at least we can actually measure the growth of the the size of the dugong, so we know the population structure of the dugong population, and also we can compare, knowing certain. Actually, we have some repeated sightings of some of these recognized dugong, and in consecutive 2 years. And so we hope we can build up a catalog that we can use it as a reference, whether it's the same group that appears in the northwest and also appear in the southeast of Qatar. So these, because when Dr. Das showed these, the Australian tagging of the dugongs, that also it's very difficult for us to actually approach dugong, and then they are protected species. We don't want to give them a stress, especially in a big group. We try to avoid the baby dugong and the mother as much as possible. So this, because of the shyness of the dugong, so that we cannot actually approach too close. So the only way to study is the drone, and so we make the best use of it. And also ROV. ROV, also produce sound, and any sound movement they also disappear. So one and other way is that we have divers using. We have tried this new technique, but it will only be a short time. And using the rebreather, so there's no bubble, no movement. The divers stay in the water, cover themselves up with seagrass, a carpet, and then we managed to get some underwater video of the dugong and the mother coming close and without actually being disturbed. So, but unfortunately, these cannot be used, often they're very expensive, and also you need a very good technique, diving techniques. So now we still rely on the drone and also the ROV. ROV, we can put it on and fix in a position and then just wait for the dugong to come, but it's passive. So one of the gap of these, the knowledge gap is that about the neonates, how what sort of growth rate that they because there are many areas that we've seen that the dugong population are declining. There's a need for actually in the future reintroduction of dugong in some of those already extinct areas. For example, in China, we used to have a dugong, but it is declared 2008, cannot find any more dugong in the southwest part of China. So, until we know more about, the actual, the grass, the seagrass, that if we can restore or we can ensure the sufficient food in certain habitats, and also the actual, the reproductive, biology of dugong, especially the baby dugong and mother, and so these we do not have much information. So we need more research in this area. Although we have experience dealing with neonates, which is quite rare, and we are quite fortunate that in the Gulf that here we have encountered some neonates. We had 6 baby dugongs so far since 2016, but unfortunately it's difficult to raise, and also we cannot actually provide the high protein and lipid percentage of the marine mammals that provide to the baby dugongs. We only use the land milk, so that is not sufficient. So now we are taking a policy that we will try to with any strandings, we'll try to treat the wounds, rehydrate them, and then put them back to the sea as soon as possible. They have bigger chance to stay in the sea than actually in captivity. But it's very expensive, very costly. We need in UAE they have 2 teams of vet. It's very rare, and also in Japan, in Toba Aquarium, more than 30 years they kept one, but they have very good experience, and almost a whole country supporting that. So it's not in case of the Qatar government, we will not have that sort of resources to put into just to keep 1 or 2 dugong, and we are completely not prepared for it. But we try to protect, because we are at the stage of designating the northwest part of the water as a dugong seagrass marine protected area. So it is going through the legal process. So we hope that maybe soon we can see that this area will be protected. And also, unfortunately, we are seeing a lot of development in the area. There's a proposal about the causeway between Bahrain and Qatar, and also a bridge between the UAE and the southwest of Qatar. So we're facing coastal development is a major threat to our dugong population. So all these areas we need to work closely together with other government departments, and so all these we are facing a lot of, and also because of the density of the dugong in the area, it is a high risk that if there is a major oil spill, like the one in Mauritius some years ago, and also actually in the Gulf back in 1983, there was a major spill, and coincide with that episode of oil spill, there were 38 dead dugongs found. So we are very worried that if there's a major spill that can actually completely wipe out our Gulf dugong if it happens near the nursery area or the breeding area. That's why we have to find out the breeding site, as Dr. Das said, that we need to find out the important habitats, the migratory route, but most important is the breeding site. And we have a potential breeding site, but we need more study in that area. And we cannot do it alone. Our country, we have to do it with our neighbor. So we hope to see more international cooperation as well as transboundary management committee set up so that we can actually work together, be more effective, because there's not much time for the dugong, because we are seeing so many new development in this area. And there are also the demand for the energy, so there will be more oil platforms being built out. So we have to act fast, work more, cooperate. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Professor John. We too agree with you that how to mainstream the dugong conservation into various developmental sectors. That is a big challenge in India too, almost all the countries also. I also agree with you that we needed some scientifically sound protocol for exotic conservation using the captive breeding of the dugong, because that is something lacking, because we don't know exactly how to take care of these sensitive animals, especially the baby dugongs in the captivity country. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your insight into that. Now I move on to the Mr. Adbud Dikto, because Indonesia also having a more or less similar problems what Dr. John Wang mentioned right now. And what kind of the immediate research gaps that you need to fill it in the Indonesia so that you can take care of the dugong better?
Yes. So I'm thinking about at least three priorities that need to be done. The first one is we continuing to expand the detection capacity. So as I mentioned before, that there are some blank spots that have never been done research in terms of sightings or dugong incidents or even seagrass distributions in those areas. I mentioned here about the area around Sumatra, around Malacca Strait, and borders area with the Philippines and border area with Australia, and small islands in northern China Sea is also very important, I guess. So at least at the moment, we already identified at least 7 hotspots, quote unquote, and we need to pay attention, including those areas that I already mentioned. But in addition, in the area where there are some blank spots. And it's a bit difficult for Indonesia because we are very big archipelagic countries, and sometimes logistic is really difficult. And in some seasons, you cannot just enter some area because of high waters and whatever reasons. But I think that's the first one. The second one is, of course, how to push ahead with policy to make sure that dugong important area are being protected. We are still lag behind in terms of Montreal target or 30 by 30. We still have like 3 million hectares gaps that need to be filled in, and I'm thinking that it might be part of these additional conservation efforts. And the third one, we think that that's what I'm doing as a research now, is trying to understand the pressure from traditional fishery that related to bycatch and accidents. As I mentioned before, that in the past month, this month, I mean, every month, We heard by you cannot see it because it's such a small animals that you have like scars in your back because of boot scar, because boot scar is really have unique patterns. You immediately see that that's a cut from propellers. And yeah, that's increasing concern on that one, how to understand and reduce bycatch from traditional fisheries. So a lot of work need to be done with traditional people across the area, across the islands, and see if we can come up with some kind of a consensus or solution that I already mentioned before. But OECM can be one of the potential solution to address this kind of specific matters. Over back to you, Dr. Sivatama.
Thank you very much, Mr. Advadikto. We do have several questions posted by the participants, but we are already running 42 minutes late. So we will address all the questions in online itself in a due course. Definitely we get this answer from the expert panel members and then share with you. Please go on with us. I thank all panel members, Dr. Jay Johnson, Mr. Akbar Dikto, Dr. Anil Naikra, and Professor John Wang, and Dr. H.S. Daspal joining with us. Thank you very much, sir. It was a wonderful, uh, really wonderful to learn from you all. Thank you very much for sharing with all these details with us and also joining with this webinar. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Vaishni.
Thank you so much, sir, for conducting that panel discussion so well. So now we will move on to closing ceremony. Before we close it, I would like to ask Dr. Nehru Prabhakaran, Scientist D and co-principal investigator of Camper Dugong Recovery Project, to say a few words to the gathering.
Thank you, Oshni. It was wonderful to have the eminent panel, including Dr. Shivkumar and other eminent panel members. Very insightful panel discussion as well as very insightful lecture by Dr. Das. Of course, this Kappa Dugong recovery program in India, pioneered by WII, especially initiated by Dr. Shivkumar. So it's in the forefront of dugong conservation and driving the conservation initiatives in India, and I hope a lot of lessons from this project can be replicated from other parts of Southeast Asia, as well as a lot of interesting information being shared on how the dugong conservation is being taken up in the Gulf countries, and a lot of new lessons from Australia and Gulf countries that have a great significance for expanding the dugong conservation and research across the globe. It's a very enriching experience going through this almost 2 hours of workshop. Thanks a lot for being with us today, and we are very much looking forward to continue this important discussions and take not only dugong conservation particularly, but also the whole marine megafauna conservation across the Asia and Southeast Asian regions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Chinmaya Ghanekar, Scientist C and co-principal investigator of Camper Dugong Recovery Project, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Vaishni, and thank you for the opportunity to express the gratitude. First of all, I really want to thank Dr. Das for being such an inspiration for all of us and for the wonderful work he is doing and sharing that wonderful work with us. There have been so much learning from that lecture, and we hope that we can actually take up that learning and take the Dugong project forward in sense. Very special thanks for inviting all of us for the International Seagrass Biology Workshop, and we look forward to it and to meet you and see that dugong in captivity and learn a lot. For the panel members, I'm really, really thankful, and I mirror Dr. Shivkumar's gratitude. I enjoyed thoroughly listening to Dr. Anil and Akbar yet again uh, for after 2023, and Dr. John Wong for joining us at this World Dugong Day, and we look forward to having him more and having more discussions to take the dugong conservation forward in the world. I am very, very thankful for the director WIA, Dean WIA, and the technical team of WIA for anchoring this webinar and giving a great support to all of us. And our mentors, Dr. Shivkumar and Dr. Johnson. I can't thank you enough for what you have given us as Dugong team, and listening to the appreciation that we are receiving worldwide. It is not possible without you too. We are really thank you for this. And the last thank you to, it's very important, to Dr. Nehru, Dr. Vaishni for anchoring this webinar very wonderfully, and the team Dugong who is sitting in different parts of the country and still being very active in managing all of this. I thank you really all, and a very happy World Dugong Day to all of you. Looking forward to keep working more. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you so much, Chinmaya. On that note, I wish everybody a very happy World Dugong Day, and we hope to see you again next year.